Welcome in, guys. And I know I'm a week late talking about this, but I thought I needed to talk about, especially this topic that came out last week. We all know from the title of the video what I'm going to talk about. Ariel Helwani had Tony Khan on his podcast, and Ariel Helwani isn't like one of the other the alleged wrestling journalists out there, or journalists that are going to give him softball questions and say, kiss his ass and suck his dick. Ariel Helwani is like, what's the deal with Punk, the Bucks, Kenny, and all those guys? And can you talk about it? And he's like, can I talk about it? Can I talk? No comment, no comment. And everything else he can talk about it, but he cannot talk about Punk, Tony Khan, Kenny Omega, the Bucks. Why can't you talk about it? Why? You're the boss, Tony Khan. You should actually, God forbid, act like a boss instead of act like a fucking mark, because the problem is with Tony, he wants to be so bad in with these boys in the back. He wants to be the friends. He doesn't want to be an authority figure, an authority figure, and he wants to just be the cool boss, which is great for a while. But again, Tony, you're managing the wrestling business. Get your head out your ass. This is again a cutthroat business where again there's a lot of egos. There's a lot of thing. I know that a lot of wrestlers saying, "Oh, AEW's family." They're not saying AEW. They're only saying that because you're giving them the big payday. You're giving them the big contract. Wrestling's a business. If you had majority of us would go back to WWE if they had the chance, especially now with Triple H. And then so this whole thing, AEW's a family bullshit. Again, it's a business, Tony Khan. If Triple H offered them a contract today, like majority of your top stars, they would go back to WWE or be in WWE now. So this whole thing, and then people saying, "Oh, AEW's better than AEW. AEW's better than WWE." I'm like, have you seen WWE? Like, the WWE has transformed under Triple H. He's changing the culture in WWE. Okay, it's not going to be overnight because again, he's replacing a guy, Vince McMahon. God damn it. For over 4 decades, right? It's going to take time, but over the last few months, even when Triple H was on Ariel Helwani's podcast, he was asked a hard-hitting questions about Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and all these other guys and girls, and he was saying, like, he was talking about it. He never said no comment this, no comment that. But again, Tony Khan, he has this mindset where he doesn't want to lie to his wrestlers. He wants to make sure that it's all a work and all the wrestling journalists are all in on it. You look at the Meltzers and all these other guys that had Tony Khan on their show, they never once challenged Tony Khan about the hard-hitting questions about AEW. Like, why is the referees so bad on TV? They look like they want to be, the performers are bad. Why is every wrestler in AEW getting dropped on their head? Again, protect your wrestlers, Tony Khan. Why was it like, especially in June and July, you had all these wrestlers getting injured because again, you wanted them to wrestle in New Japan and them to wrestle in independent shows when you actually need them as your champion. So you had Thunder Rosa as an interim champion. You had other people get injured because again, you want the wrestlers to work elsewhere, which is great. But again, the one thing I liked about, one thing that was great about Vince, and what has been great about Vince, even though that we kind of marked it and said it was for tax purposes, was that Vince would protect his assets. And if you were signed to WWE, you just work WWE. You do not work anywhere else because again, you're an asset to Vince or now Triple H. Tony Khan signs these wrestlers and he's like, oh, you can work in Triple H, you can work in New Japan, you can work in an event show. They come back and some of them are in big storylines on TV and then they get injured. The other thing is the whole toxic culture in AEW. The wrestling journalists started this and the AEW marks started this. But like protecting AEW, saying that protecting AEW, anytime that anybody would criticize AEW, God forbid, they would instantly have this toxic culture online. Tony, oh my God, this ain't shit about your product. And then Tony's like, oh, WWE sucked and whatever. And then the issues never get addressed. You even say one thing about AEW, anything bad about AEW, you're labeled as a bot. And apparently that was going under investigation. Remember that? That investigation lasted a week. So again, Tony Khan, stop being such a fucking mark for yourself and act like a boss. So and start having the inmates run the asylum, because again, this kind of has similar to WCW. Remember when the outsiders had creative control and all this other stuff? It was similar to that, but again, learn from people from the past, like Dixie Carter, like Eric Bischoff. And Eric Bischoff has said, like, listen, man, I've been in this position before. Don't do what I did, and learn from the mistakes. He didn't listen, and you can see where his product is. Like, he got 9,000, 7,000 viewers last night on Dynamite. He's got Ring of Honor, and he's having all of his products surrounded by Ring of Honor, and that's affecting his product because nobody gives a fuck about it. AEW's ceiling is just 1 million viewers. They're not going to get 2 million or 3 million, or because their ceiling is the hardcore fan base. They're not going to grow past the hardcore fan base, which is sad, really, because AEW, in my opinion, has a lot of potential to grow. But again, this is what happens when you have a fucking mark in Tony Khan, who's a money mark, buying a wrestling product, and he wants ECW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan roll into one promotion and spread it across his TV show, and expects everybody else to, like, you've got to like Ring of Honor. And you got Ian Riccoboni saying there's a dark cloud over Ring of Honor. There's been a dark cloud over Ring of Honor for nearly a year. What the hell are you talking about? The only thing about Ring of Honor right now is that you defend the titles. You're not doing house shows. You're not doing TV tapes in Ring of Honor. And even with Ring of Honor, who's going to do all these TV tapings, Tony? You haven't thought of that. Like, you want to do Ring of Honor? Who's going to do that? You don't have any writers to do Dynamite or Rampage, but you want to do a third show in Ring of Honor? Who's going to do that? Well, the Bucks are going to write that, or Colt Cabana? Again, it's just, this man does not know what the fuck he's doing. But again, all these guys in the so-called wrestling world don't want to challenge Tony Khan because they all want to rub elbows with this guy. They all want a job in the wrestling business. The protected EVPs never get challenged as well. It's another reason why you have FTR, who are IWGP tag team champions. They're the Ring of Honor tag team champions. The AAA tag team champions. But they're not good enough to win their own tag team titles. Oh, I wonder why that is. I wonder why they're not good enough to win their own titles. Their own tag team titles that they're assigned to from their own company. But they can win all these other titles that nobody gives a fuck about. Oh yeah, the EVPs, because again, the Bucks and FTR have heat. Because again, the Bucks are triggered and whatever. Because again, what's more important to Tony Khan, keeping FTR or the Bucks and Kenny? Especially to these wrestling journalists. And Punk, again, he shouldn't have gone in business for himself what he did at that media scrum. But again, the stuff he was saying at media scrum was right. All these guys, EVPs that cannot run a fucking Target, he's right, because they don't know how to run things in order. And it just shows how, since Cody Rhodes has left AEW, even though I know Cody Rhodes is a dick and whatever, but ever since Cody Rhodes left, that was a big hole that Tony Khan could never fill. He never got that person in to fill the shoes of Cody Rhodes. Like, any time that Cody was in that position, it was always good PR. They would go on TV shows and promote their show. Like, you don't even see them going on daytime TV promoting AEW. But that's a big thing that they've lost in Cody since he's gone. Like, his presence and his leadership at the top, and the Bucks and Kenny don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're like they're headless chickens and shit like that. But again, Tony Khan, stop being a mark for yourself. Ariel Helwani is right. WWE is better. Is better than AEW right now. It shows in the ratings, and the fact of the matter is, Tony Khan doesn't like it when the heat is on him. He doesn't like it when people question Tony Khan. Remember, Tony Khan has to be, oh no, Tony, we're not going to ask the audience questions. We're not going to talk about X, Y, and Z. We're going to talk about Ring of Honor. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. Bully Ray told him once, he questioned him, Bully Ray questioned Tony Khan once about the referees and why the referees don't have much authority in the ring. And then Tony goes, oh, well, we're not New Japan. He didn't say nothing about New Japan. He said, why do the referees have no authority when it comes to the wrestlers? And they're doing all this shit, and again, it makes it all look stupid, the camera angles and whatever. But anyway, guys, that's my thoughts and on this Ariel Helwani Tony Khan situation.